So we all know Dexter left us with a lot of questions. Some things just never added up, and fans have been coming up with theories ever since, and honestly, a lot of them actually make sense. In this video, we are going to break down some of the best Dexter theories that might actually be true, and they'll definitely make you see the show in a whole new way. From Dexter actually just having autism and not being a psychopath, to how Harry might have a lot more secrets than we all think. These are also just theories on the show Dexter. There will be no theories on Dexter Resurrection or any other spin-off show since I have not seen those shows yet, and to be honest, I don't know what theories are good or not. And of course, there will be spoilers throughout the video, so if you have not finished the show and care about spoilers, then this is your one warning. The first theory we are going to talk about is actually one of my favorites, and the theory is that Detective Lundy might have known Dexter was the Bay Harbor Butcher, or at the very least, knew he was a serial killer. The theory goes like this: Lundy is extremely good at catching serial killers. I mean, that's literally what he's known for. And there's so many scenes in the show where you ask yourself, does Lundy actually think Dexter is a killer? Some people think that Detective Lundy was eventually going to gain enough evidence to bring Dexter in, but then after they found Dokes' body and the Bay Harbor Butcher case was closed, he decided to keep Dexter around since it would be a lot more useful for him and Dexter would be able to help him catch more serial killers. After all, Dexter is one of the good serial killers that doesn't kill innocent people, well, most of the time, but only kills bad people, unlike the other killers Lundy has caught. Nothing backs up this theory more than in season 4 when Lundy comes back to Miami, he goes directly to Dexter. Why would Lundy go directly to some random blood spatter specialist with no actual detective training to help him catch one of his most dangerous serial killers that some people don't even think exists? Unless Detective Lundy knew that Dexter was also a serial killer, and he figured he'd have the best luck of catching the Trinity Killer if he had help from another smart serial killer. Plus, Dokes knew something was off about Dexter almost immediately, and Dokes isn't anywhere near as good at catching killers as Lundy is. And don't forget the scene where Lundy talked to the Trinity Killer for literally 5 seconds and immediately knew there was something off about him. You're trying to tell me Detective Lundy can stare at a guy for 5 seconds and know something is up, but he couldn't figure out Dexter was a killer in the countless scenes he had with him? If Detective Lundy didn't know Dexter was a killer, he at the very least had a strong suspicion that something was off about him, just like Dokes did. Speaking of people knowing about Dexter, there's a theory where Thomas Matthews also knew. Now, to be honest, there's not much on this theory, except that Matthews was very close with Harry, and it wouldn't be surprising at all if Harry told Matthews about Dexter, or at the very least something about Dexter not being normal. And some people even believe that he was even protecting Dexter from Maria in season 7. And the reasoning why Matthews never told Dexter he knew is simply because why would he? It would be a pretty unnecessary conversation that wouldn't affect anything. It would just make him an accomplice in what Dexter does if Matthews ever talked to Dexter about it. Now, this next theory is one I've already touched on earlier in the video, and the theory is that Dexter Morgan isn't actually a psychopath, he just has autism. But for his entire life, Harry was telling him he was and fixating his entire personality on what happened to his mom. This theory stems from the fact that we have seen multiple psychopaths in the show, and they are much different than Dexter. For example, his brother Brian is a perfect psychopath, and they have clear differences in their reactions and social reactions. No one in the show thought Brian was at least a tiny bit weird. Even Dokes was around him for some time, but he had no suspicion over him like he does for Dexter. Brian is able to manipulate social situations with his charisma and appear normal. Dexter can't do that. Dexter likes to have routines in his everyday life that's not associated with killing, and he is shown to dislike change, like when he had to sell his old house to live with Rita. He didn't want to at all at first. There's also a couple scenes in the show that implies that the show's intro is something that Dexter just does every day when he wakes up. And that would be another example on how he lives his life in patterns. Dexter's entire thing is that he doesn't feel any emotion except for anger, but throughout the show we see that that's not true. He shows emotions of love, regret, and genuine care for people in his life. He even shows sadness multiple times throughout the show. He just has trouble expressing his emotions in a socially acceptable way. A perfect example for this theory is the Trinity Arc Killer. Dexter doesn't kill Trinity right away since he wants to learn how to be a better family man. And in this season, Dexter shows that he extremely dislikes people who harm children, A perfect psychopath, like Trinity, doesn't care about this, especially when it doesn't directly affect his life. The Trinity killer could probably accidentally run over a kid, chuckle, and then forget about it within 2 hours. Whereas if Dexter accidentally ran over a kid, it would keep him up for like the next 3 weeks. Dexter goes out of his way to help others because he cares for them. There's countless scenes where Dexter helps people even when it doesn't benefit him directly. So pretty much in summary, some people believe Dexter isn't a real psychopath, he just has autism, but Harry kept telling him he was one to the point where Dexter started to believe it himself, and it just became who he is. And some people believe even Rita and everyone else around Dexter just thinks he has autism, and that's why he acts differently in social situations. Because I mean, like, come on, it doesn't take a genius to know something is up with Dexter. There's moments where he just stares at the person he's talking to for like 5 seconds before responding. And now let's talk about another theory that involves Harry. Some fans of the show believe that Harry actually thought Dexter was his biological child. We know that Harry had a relationship with Dexter's mom, but we don't know how long their relationship was going on for. It's very possible that when they met, she already had Brian, but during their relationship, she got pregnant with Dexter. The main point to this theory is that when Dexter's mom got killed in the cargo container and Harry found them, he immediately grabbed Dexter and just left Brian. Even when I watched this scene, I thought it was a little weird that Harry just grabbed Dexter and left Brian all alone in a pile of blood. And I am aware that he made a deal with Dexter's mom that he would keep him safe, but wouldn't it also just make sense to just grab Brian as well and make sure both of them are safe? Unless Harry thought Dexter was his son, and his fatherly instincts just took over, grabbing Dexter and possibly not even thinking about Brian, just worried about getting his son to safety. It's kind of the only way to justify Harry just leaving Brian in a bloody shipping container with his dead mom. Plus, we never find out who Dexter's dad is, so it's not out of the realms to assume that Harry also didn't know who Dexter's dad was, and he might have just assumed that Dexter was his kid, but he didn't want to say anything or make it known because he would probably get fired for having a baby with an informant. It's not the strongest theory, but I do think it could be true, especially since it's not even a theory about Dexter being Harry's son. It's just a theory about how Harry thinks Dexter is his son, and it would also explain on why Harry pretty much abandoned Deborah and spent so much time with someone who isn't even his kid. And that is going to be the very end of the video. If you've made it this far and have enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and let me know what you think about these theories, along with any other theories that you have that aren't in this video. And if you would like to see more videos like this, then I have a lot. From Mass Effect theories that could be true to Breaking Bad theories that could also be true. I also have a few Red Dead Redemption theory videos if you're interested in that. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.